let's talk about the MAGA civil war that is brewing here. And oh boy, is the MAGA civil war brewing. It's getting a little nasty. So we talked about Thomas Massie, the congressman from Kentucky, getting remarried a couple of weeks ago in the show. And I said, hey, it's a little soon, but everybody grieves differently. Well, Donald Trump has been at odds with Massie. Massie's a Republican. He has more of an independent streak to a libertarian, I guess you could call it. Donald Trump has been at odds with Thomas Massie, and shortly after the wedding, he posted this on his Truth Social account. Did Thomas Massie, sometimes referred to as Rand Paul Jr. because of the fact that he always votes against the Republican Party, get married already? Boy, that was quick. No wonder the polls have him at less than an 8% chance of winning the election. Anyway, have a great life, Thomas, and question mark. His wife will soon find out that she is stuck with a loser. Well, I can't imagine.
Loser! You're a loser!
I can't imagine why Thomas Massie wouldn't like that. So Marjorie Taylor Greene has also been on his nerves. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene has been quite possibly one of the most loyal members of MAGA since she took office. She's a congresswoman down in Georgia. But she's rattled his cage because she said, hey, no. We want these Epstein files. No more hiding this, no more. We want the files. You promised them. Your head of the FBI promised them. Your attorney general promised them. We want the files. And Trump lashed out at her with this tweet. When wacky Marjorie Trader Brown, and then in parentheses, remember, green turns to brown where there is rot involved, is working overtime to try to portray herself as a victim when in actuality, she is the cause of all of her own problems. The fact is nobody cares about this traitor to our country. Why demanding the release of the Epstein files makes her a traitor? And I'm no MTG fan, by the way. I think she's a bad look on the Republican Party. I think she's kind of fucking nuts, if you want me to be honest with you. I'm no MTG fan, but how this makes her a traitor is beyond me. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene responded to this post in an interview, and here's what she said.
I stood with President Trump when virtually no one else did. Campaigned all over the country, spent millions of my own dollars helping him get elected. And I think that's incredibly important. And I do support him and his administration. And I support them in delivering the campaign promises we made to the American people. His remarks, of course, have been hurtful. However, I have something in my heart that I think is incredibly important for our country. And that is to end the toxic fighting in politics. And this has been going on for years, and it has divided our country, split up friends and families, neighbors, and it's not solving our problems. The most hurtful thing he said, which is absolutely untrue, is he called me a traitor, and that is so extremely wrong. And those are the types of words used that can radicalize people against me and put my life in danger.
What do you think happened? What do you think is the reason for this?
Unfortunately, it has all come down to the Epstein files, and that is shocking. And, you know, I stand with these women. I stand with rape victims. I stand with children who are in terrible sex abuse situations. And I stand with survivors of trafficking and those that are trapped in sex trafficking. And I will not apologize for that. I believe the country deserves transparency in these files. And I don't believe that rich, powerful people should be protected if they have done anything wrong. And so I'm standing with the women, and I will continue to do my small part to get the files released.
And here's how Trump responded.
Her life could be at danger because of the rhetoric.
Her life is in danger? Who's that?
Marjorie Taylor Greene, she says.
Marjorie Trader Greene. I don't think her life is in danger. Frankly, I don't think anybody cares about her. Okay.
So, to be fair, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who I'm on your side here, when you talk about toxic political fighting and venom being thrown, you've been a pretty major player in venom being thrown from the right. Probably more than Trump has throughout your congressional career. So until you're willing to come out and say, hey, I did this wrong in the past, I was wrong to have said things and done things in the past, it really doesn't mean a whole lot to me. But she is right here. And Trump calling her a traitor for wanting the Epstein files released absolutely disturbs me, because here's what you got to realize. He's going to call her a traitor to the country, but he's not really calling her a traitor to the country. You got to read between the lines. He's calling her a traitor to him because she broke rank. She did something that she was told not to do by the leader of the MAGA movement, and that upsets him. This is a guy who is a control freak, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But when somebody breaks rank on a control freak and they don't stand in line, or they don't get in line, that becomes a problem for them. Now, AOC, of all people, had some interesting gossip on the Marjorie Taylor Greene situation. Check out what she had to say. I think this might be an interesting insight to it.
Here's some tea for you. MTG, people are like, oh my God, she's saying all of these things. Like, what's gotten into her lately? Oh, like she's bucking against Trump. She's bucking against the administration. Marjorie Taylor Greene wanted to run for Senate in Georgia. She wanted to run for Senate earlier this year in the state of Georgia. She wanted to be the Republican nominee for Senate. So she was gearing up for that statewide race, and Trump told her no. Trump said no. And the White House and Trump land shut down Marjorie Taylor Greene's personal ambitions to run for Senate. And she has been on a revenge tour ever since.
It could be. It could. Listen, I've got enough experience now. I know when a Hispanic woman leans forward and says, I've got some tea for you, there's a kernel of truth to it from experience. But I don't know. I think maybe that does play a role, that she's upset that they sabotaged her campaign. Here's what she's got to realize, though, is in defense of the Trump administration here, it's going to be razor thin in the midterms either way. They're hanging on to the Senate for dear life with some of these recent developments. Georgia's one they can potentially flip. They need someone who's not going to rattle cages. This is not a year where you can run a Herschel Walker in Georgia and get away with it. By the way, 3 years ago would have been the perfect time to run a Herschel Walker in Georgia and get away with it. They did that, and they still didn't get away with it. Marjorie Taylor Greene would get absolutely dog-walked there. So if you're Trump, you're sitting there going, okay, I got this woman. She's a solid vote for my agenda 99% of the time in the Congress. She wants to run for Senate. She'd be great to have in the Senate when it comes to getting my agenda through, but she doesn't stand a chance. So I can get a guy in who's going to vote with me 70% of the time, 80% of the time, and I'll just deal with the other 20 to 30%, but at least he's got a fair chance of getting elected and flipping that seat. They hedged their bets. They were playing politics. They knew she couldn't win there. But I also think it's possible that she's just upset about the Epstein files. This has been a central point to her career. She's always been loud about this, as she should be. It's disgusting that elite pedophiles have trafficked kids within this country, and we're just going to give them a pass for it for national security purposes, whatever the fuck that means. I think both things can be true here, and they probably are. It might be more one than the other. You guys get to make that up. But here, or you guys get to make that decision. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, be sure to click the link in the description to get the full episode on Rumble. If you prefer to listen along, you could actually get us on Spotify, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio. You can also go to www.outlawstreamers.com to learn more about not just my show, but tons of other great shows and all the exciting projects they have coming up. Follow my socials at Caleb Isn't Funny on Twitter and Instagram, at Caleb Salvatore Comedy on the Chinese Spy app that is TikTok, and be sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thanks, and we'll see you every Saturday for brand new episodes of That's Based. Peace.